Hey guys, welcome back to Project Time Garage. Today's project, this generator. I was contacted by one of my family members who asked if I could help them get an old generator back up and running again. I said sure. They brought me the generator. It hasn't ran since, we're going to say 2002 or 3 or 2003 or 4, somewhere in that neighborhood. We're pretty sure the fuel has been in there for about that long. Sure smells like it. Would imagine the carburetor's a mess. Should be easy, right? Let's get into it. Okay, let's dive right into this generator. So, what we're going to do is we're going to start off just by seeing if the engine's viable. We know a few things right off the crack of the bat. The thing's got gas that's nearly 20 years old in it, at least 15 years old anyway. It's got some old gas in it. I imagine I'm going to have all kinds of issues with this carburetor. I'm just going to kind of walk you through my methodology of getting an old engine or something that's been sitting for a long time and starting to try to revive it. Everybody has their own way of doing it. Mine's not right, mine's not wrong, mine is just how I do it. This is not a how-to tutorial. Again, you can probably follow along with me and get something like this done, but I'm not advertising this as the right way. If you're doing this yourself, it's at your own risk. That being said, first thing I'm going to do is pull the spark plug, see if it looks like it's been at the bottom of the ocean. It's black, sooty, smells, well, I think it smells rich, hard to tell, but it doesn't look bad. I don't see any rust, I don't see any water, no fish came out. That's always a good sign. So stick it back in there and move on. I'll just put it in hand tight for now. Usually the first thing I do is start by checking the oil, because these things, when they're put away, who knows, you know, what happened, have they been turned over or what. And this one's actually really clean. It's actually clean all the way up on the stick. I'm sure you can see that, but the oil's nice. Again, my family member told me that there was virtually zero runtime on the engine, and I tend to believe that, just given the shape of the paint and the stickers and stuff. I tend to believe that this thing has almost no runtime on it whatsoever. So the oil's good. That's the first thing, just to make sure we have that. I will change this oil, but I'm not going to do that until I'm sure that I have a viable, workable engine. And I usually will start them and get them a little bit warm before I change the oil. This stuff looks fine. It's not going to kill anything, so we're going to give it a whirl. Next order of business. What does the air filter look like? Are there mice? Are there rodents? Are there dirt daubers? What's in there? Actually, we have a pretty clean, pretty decent. Oh look, that says Tecumseh on it. So this is a Tecumseh 10 horse cast iron engine. This is, I'm betting, the original air filter for it. So there's that. Set that aside. So it looks clean. I don't see any evidence of rodents or mice or anything. In fact, even back here in the fins, I don't see anything but a little bit of dust. I know it was stored inside, so I'm not so worried about having mouse nests built up here in the cooling fins or the tins at all. So again, going through with my methodology, I've checked the oil. I don't see any rodent nests anywhere that it's going to suck in there when I start to try to fire this thing off. So what are we going to do next? Well, we're going to see if it has any compression. And it does. It feels like it has what I would consider normal compression for a, 5, 7, 10 horse engine. We have controls. We have the on-off button. We have the choke lever, which I don't need yet. And this is the start button. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull the plug. And this goes back to your methodologies. Some people will go through and check for all these components and make sure that they have spark and timing and all that. Maybe I'm a little bit lazy, but I usually pull the plug, dribble fuel, pull the thing, see if it starts. If it starts, then I know a whole lot of things right off the crack of the bat. I know the engine's good. I do notice that there's red spray paint on this plug that's consistent with the red spray paint on the 10, so this is probably the factory original plug too. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little bit of 2-stroke gas, and I am just going to put a tad right down the spark plug hole. I'm going to put this spark plug back in there. I'm even going to put it in there hand tight because I'm not worried about it if it loses a touch of compression. Turn the thing on. The choke is turned off because I'm not trying to draw fuel out of the bowl. And let's see what it does. All right. So that tells me with fuel, it'll run. So it's at this point I usually turn my attention to the carburetor and to see what that's going to look like. So this would be a 7/16 wrench. I'm just going to go down here and pull the bottom nut off of it. Give it a little tap. I am floored. Actually, I'm really surprised. There's a little bit of sediment down there, but it really doesn't look bad. It really doesn't look bad at all. I did not expect to see that. Believe it or not, the needle and seat are actually free on it too. So that's good. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick this thing back together, and I am going to run a little bit of fuel out of this tank because it is beyond nasty. And we'll see what we get. So let's get the hose clamp off of here. Alright. Get a little bit in the cup here. Just kind of see what happens. Say that's stuck pretty good there. The on-off valve, the petcock seems to be kind of stuck a little bit, but I can't imagine what's going to come out of here. Ha! Nothing. No, oh, nope. Well, you got something dripping out of there. That's looking pretty unsavory. Let's get the gas cap off of it. Yeah, what's coming out of there is not what I would consider to be good gas. So you can see in the bottom of the cup that what's in there is definitely not viable. In fact, it looks more like almost like a mix between coffee and tea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a temporary gas can, and we're going to put some fresh fuel in a temporary can. We're going to set it up here. We're going to hook up an IV to this carburetor and just see if this carburetor runs or not. Let's do that. I'll bring you back. So since that tank was completely full of really ancient varnished gas, what I've done is I have put my little extra tank up here. It's got mostly gas in it. May have a little bit of 2-stroke mix, but that's not going to hurt anything. What I've done is I've plumbed it all the way down around the generator and all the way into the factory fuel filter. So we're going to see what happens here. And before I do anything, before I do this, I'm going to go ahead and just pull the bowl back off the carburetor for a second. I'll put my cup under there. I'm just going to turn the gas on, and let's just see if we get anything out. We may end up putting this carburetor in the solution after all. We'll see. And there comes gas. Okay, so that's a good sign. So with that in mind, I'm just going to go ahead and give this bowl a cursory wipe out. Give it a little spritz of brake cleaner. Let's wipe it out. I don't know what shape I expect the jets and the emulsion tube and all that to be in. Maybe good, maybe bad, but we'll see. So let's go ahead and put this back. See what we get there. I'm going to go ahead and turn the fuel back on. Get some of this stuff out of the way. That fuel bowl should be filling up now with somewhat clean gas. So let's turn the choke on. Let's give it some of that. And let's just yank on it a couple of times and see what happens. So the governor's stuck and it wants to run wide open with me. Actually, I think I may have just unstuck it. Let's try again. Go ahead and plug in a light and see if the generator works or not. Well, I'd say it runs. And I'd say the generator works. So the only thing really we have left to do here, I think, is to clean out that gas tank because it's bad, and then send it on down the road. This is a way shorter video than I thought it would be. I thought I was going to end up taking the carburetor off. But I'll tell you what saved it. Whoever put this thing away, when they put it away, they turned the gas off at the petcock and they started it and they ran it dry. That's what saved it. Had they left gas in that bowl to evaporate, this would have been a completely different encounter for us. So let's move to getting the thing to run on its own gas tank now. So we're going to get this gas tank off of here. We're going to get it emptied out. We're going to get it washed out, and then we're going to get it back on the machine, see what we've got there. I'll bring you back. Start with the tank bolts. Give it a little slosh maybe before we empty it. This is going to smell great, I can already tell. Let's try to get this petcock out of the tank without destroying anything. I'm sure this is the totally proper tool to do it with. There we go. Oh yeah, look at that. Yummy. Something tells me that screen's not going to be going back on there, and something tells me that screen was the whole problem. Okay. Tank's cleaned out. And I think it's time to put the tank back on there, put the petcock back in it. See if this thing will run. Come on. There you go. Okay, how about a fuel hose? But before that, how about a hose clamp that likes to go zinging across the garage? That's why we keep extras of those. Okay. All we need is fuel. Let me put some fuel in it. Come right back. Okay. I gave it a little bit of fuel. Let's go ahead and put the air cleaner back on it. Earlier I noticed it was hunting a little bit when it was running, so I adjusted the mixture a little bit and evened it out. But I wonder if it was hunting because I had the air cleaner off and it was a little bit leaner than normal. So I fattened it up a little bit. So my guess is it's going to be a little bit rich now that it's got this thing on. Putting the air cleaner back on will richen one up just a little bit. So there's that. Let's turn the fuel on. Let's make noise. Gonna let it run for just for a little bit, and then we'll see what it does. Choke maybe? No choke now? Well, that runs. That was way easier. I thought this was going to be an absolute carb breaking down kind of day. I guess not. So what's next for it? Next thing we're going to do is we're going to, now that it's got a little bit warm, we're going to go ahead and get this oil out of it and get some fresh oil in it. And then we're probably going to send this thing down the road. So let's get the oil taken care of. Let me find a drain pan. I'll come right back. All right, let's get the oil out of there. Tell you what, while that's draining, let's grab just a touch of it. Have a look at it. We'll do an oil analysis. So let's go ahead and use our cup. Make sure that we got as much out as we can get out. I think that's going to be about it. Yeah, we're down to drops now. All right. Drain plug back in. Tighten it up. Going to be using the factory torque specification from Tecumseh, which is about right there. Well, there. About like that. Let's go find some oil to put in there. This says, do not overfill. So it doesn't tell us on the dipstick. I'm sure it's just straight 30 weight. That's what almost everything takes. Important, check engine oil every 5 operating hours. Fill to full mark with SAE 30. Next question. Do I have SAE 30? Maybe a tall order here. Go check that out. All right, so we have some oil. Let's go ahead and fill it up. See, what do you know, right at the top of full. So it takes about a quart of oil. Since this is the next day, I figure it wouldn't hurt to do a cold start on it, huh? Let's give that a whirl. That, a little bit of choke. Close. A little more choke. No choke. More choke. No, 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 no. How about we turn the gas back on? That'd be a good idea. All right, let's give that a second to get from up there and get all trickled down into the hole there. Choked. Let's try it. Well, I'm pretty impressed with that. I guess we're gonna call this project complete right here. I know it was a really short project. It was actually a lot shorter than I expected it was gonna be. So we're gonna call it. Well, guys, that's going to wrap up this project. It was a way shorter project than I thought it was going to be. I expected to get into some kind of a horror show in this carburetor, but that didn't happen. I guess it didn't happen because I needed to make a video out of it. I'm sure if I actually had needed to use this generator quickly, I'm sure it would have turned into an entire fiasco and we would have had a multi-episode series on it. But it didn't turn out that way, which is fine. Listen, I really appreciate you guys tuning in and watching these videos. It means a lot to us. We really appreciate it. Please, if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and click that little icon down there in the corner right there. Subscribe to my channel. It actually helps us out when you do that. We'd like to hear the comments if you have comments. Don't forget to click the little notification bell. It's down there too. You can get notified when any video comes out. We try to put one up about every Friday. So anyway, again, thank you, and I'll see you next time.